welcome to this month's webinar. We have Veronika Abdulina who's here to present. So thank you for joining us, and I leave it over to you now. Thanks.
Thank you, Lisa. So hello, everyone, and thank you for coming for this presentation. My name is Veronika Abdulina, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Stavanger, the Department of the Energy Resources. So today I'm inviting you to learn about diatoms, tiny creatures, a tiny algae that have been around us for millions of years, quietly doing the amazing job. While we've been watching such things as the internet and the avocado toast. They are microscopic, but don't let their size fool you. They're actually nature's multitasking geniuses. They're like a Swiss Army knife of algae world. Okay, let's start. So diatoms are characterized with a huge diversity. It is estimated that the number of different species is over 25,000, and scientists are discovering new species every year. The unique structure is that their body is surrounded with a special cell wall, which is called frustule. And this frustule produce structural coloration, prompting them to be described as jewels of the sea or living opals. So why diatom has such a name? Diatom is an algae that live in special houses, and these houses consist of two parts, like a box and a lid. And to be honest, the more appropriate comparison would be a Petri plate or a cell culture dish. So the two pieces are asymmetrical and perfectly fit together. Diatoms actually are the only organisms on the planet with such a cell walls composed of transparent opaline silica. The composition is actually close to the well-known mineral, which is quartz. It is a silica oxide, okay? So it is curious that most of people think that trees are the primary source of the oxygen we breathe. But actually, it's partly true, and we should protect our forests and other terrestrial plants. However, the real oxygen powerhouses are actually there in the ocean. It is marine phytoplankton, including diatoms, who produce 50 to 80% of oxygen that we breathe. And the other part is come from the land-based plants like trees. So that's right. Every other breath we take, we can thank a diatom. And these little guys are like photosynthesis machines. They convert the sunlight into the oxygen like it's their day job, because actually it is. You can find diatoms everywhere. Rivers, oceans, fish tanks, soils, ice, hot springs. But actually, they're not just the pond scum. Actually, they're vital in aquatic ecosystems because they make most of the phytoplankton and they produce nearly half of the ocean's primary source. That's right. Diatoms are not just oxygen factories. They are actually the base of the marine food chain. They're like a bread and a butter of the ocean. They feed everything from tiny zooplankton to massive whales. So, their superpower is filtration. They work as tiny sponges because of their skeletons is made of silica, and it's made of tiny pores. They can soak up different heavy metals and pollutions from in the water, so they can filter it, and they act as natural filters of the water. So they keep our oceans and rivers clean. Okay, but their usefulness doesn't stop there. You know, humans found more purposes how to use their unique properties. And have you ever brushed your teeth? Diatoms were there. Their tiny silica skeletons are used in a toothpaste as a mild abrasive to scrub away the plaque. So they not just keep our oceans clean, they actually keep our smiles bright too. And diatoms have left an incredible remark not just on the environment, but also on the industry. Their skeletons made of silica, like natural form of glass, are incredibly useful. When diatoms finish their life cycle, their tiny glass-like skeletons not just disappear. They precipitate, they settle down on the bottom of the oceans, and over millions of years, these layers of silica gradually compress and harden, forming a rock. This rock is called diatomite. And this rock is full of tiny pores, as you can see on the image, making it incredibly absorbent and lightweight. Like imagine a natural sponge, but made of stone, okay? And because of these properties, diatomite has found in different kinds of products that we use. It is used in pool filters, cleaning our water to make it crystal clean, and it's actually used in a cat litter, absorbing the moisture and odors to keep the things clean. And it's not the end of the story. Actually, diatoms has much more applications in our life. Their interact structures of their frustrals make them suitable for nanotechnologies. Researchers are exploring how to use diatom frustrals as a template for the creation of nanomaterials with various of necessary properties. We can use them for drug delivery, tissue engineering scaffolds, and biosensors. Wow. So, and diatoms have the potential also to be used in biofuels. They can be since they have a high lipid content, these lipids can be extracted from their bodies and can be converted into biodiesel. Moreover, some species of diatoms have been found to be effective in bioremediation processes, such as removal of heavy metals and pollutants from waters. And their ability to absorb and accumulate the contaminants make them perfect and promising candidate for cleaning up polluted environment. Finally, diatoms produce a wide range of bioactive compounds, such as antioxidants, antimicrobials, and anti-cancer agents. So researchers are currently exploring these compounds for potential pharmaceutical and medical applications. Who knew that algae could be so versatile, right? Okay, and get this. Actually, diatomite was once used to make dynamite. It is a lightweight and porous nature that made them perfect to stabilize nitroglycerin in the early stages of explosives. That's right. Tiny algae were behind some of the biggest booms in our history. And it's not every day that you can find out that something so tiny can have such a big bang. All right. Now here's the things that are getting really interesting. As a part of NCS 2030 Center, in a team with Tina Punderwold and Scully Strand from University of Stavanger and Alexander Mamanov from Danish Technical University, I'm working on the research, net zero emission production, tight reservoir solutions. And tight reservoirs means the deposit with oil and gas which are challenging to produce. One of the examples of tight reservoirs are diatomite. And as I already said, when diatoms die, they do not just disappear, they settle down at the bottom of the ocean, forming a unique rock, which is called diatomite. And this rock is full of pores, yeah, and which make it perfect to hold hydrocarbons, oil and gas. The big goal of the project is obtaining knowledge how to generate low-emission, improved oil recovery solutions for tight reservoirs. And this research contains of the following steps. The first one is to study the phase behavior and interactions between rock, oil, and brine. The second step of the research is to create an optimized water-based EUR methods. Why water-based? Because we are trying to find some affordable and ecologically friendly methods. Finally, the research includes the study of CO2 safe storage in this kind of tight reservoirs. So currently, as you understood, our research is mainly focused on diatomite. And for this project, we managed to get small samples of diatomite from the Norwegian continental shelf, from the Valhalla field, yes. And our goal was to study the physical and chemical properties of this kind of reservoir, and from this kind of reservoir. Diatomite comes from the Lark Formation. This is a Miocene age, and it consists of brown-gray mudstone. So our samples were studied with various of methods that are presented on the slide with the results, and the initial tests were performed to assess the properties such as porosity and permeability, mineralogical composition, surface area. All of these properties are very important for hydrocarbon production and potential CO2 storage. The chemical composition is mostly opal, some clay minerals, micas, and pyrite. The porosity is about 50%, which is very high. Porosity means a lot of space in the rock, yeah. And the permeability is quite low. It's 0.2 millidarcy, so that's why it's a tight rock. It means that the pores are not connected to each other, and it's not easy for a fluid to go through this rock. All right. By today, due to some projects, TwinToSet project and collaboration with Danish Technical University, we've managed to get different samples of diatomates from some parts of the world, Norway, Greece, and Denmark. So the current results are presented on this slide, and there are two main factors to compare: the permeability and the chemical composition, okay? All in all, the reservoir diatomite, which comes from Norway, is quite different from the other samples of the diatomite. Thus, you can see the composition is mostly of, it consists of mostly clay minerals, and others do not have such minerals in their composition. So this diatomite cannot be exactly the analog materials for Norwegian diatomite, as we wanted them to use. However, since they are more pure in their composition, especially the diatomite from the Fur Formation, you can see it mostly only opal, we can use these kind of samples to understand the properties of the purest diatomite, because actually they're not well studied in the literature, according to the literature. So we decided to use this purest diatomite for our next studies. All right. Let's see what we've got out of our oil recovery tests. We did this test with two samples. The first one is Lark Formation, from Lark Formation. It's a Norwegian diatomite from the Norwegian continental shelf. And the second one is from Outcrop. It's a Fur Formation, yeah, from Denmark. So we took these two samples, and we tried to imitate the conditions in the reservoir. So we saturated our samples with 20% of formation water, and the other part goes for oil. Then, after the saturation, we prepared our little reservoir, and we put it into the special cell, amide cell, and we saturated we surrounded with formation water. So after some time, we found out that actually the capillary forces acts very good here, and the both of the samples starts to soak the formation water very fast, as you can see on the table, on the graph. As you can see, the red line shows the outcrop material, and the oil recovery plateau reached 75% just of the oil recovery just in a week. As for the reservoir diatomite, the oil recovery, the oil production reached only 45%, but it's understandable because of the different content, and the reservoir diatomite has very mixed content, especially it contains a lot of clay minerals. So all in all, these findings are proof, like the significance first of the capillary forces, which help to soak that water and to start the imbibition, the spontaneous imbibition processes to recover more oil from the surface of the rock. And yes, we need to keep in mind these capillary forces when we continue our laboratory experiments and when we model this type of reservoirs for the oil production industry. All right, and here where the diatoms might actually save our planet. After we extracted the oil, we still have a lot of space inside because the porosity is still 50%, and this material is very chemically stable because it's made mostly of silica, which is like glass, and it's very hard. Yes, so it's a very stable material. So we can use it to pump CO2 in it. It's like to put all this nasty CO2 into a safe deposit box somewhere deep underground, so it will not hurt anyone. In our research, 2 samples of diatomite rocks were exposed to carbonated water, which means brine containing dissolved CO2. So we try to evaluate how the rock and the minerals were affected by the exposure, if diatomite formations are going to be used for geological CO2 storage. At the end of this kind of test, we extracted the liquid and the rock part to analyze it. And as you can see, after, before exposure and after exposure, there are not much changes in the composition in both rock part and liquid part. So no significant changes were observed during the test, and that means that diatomite has a good potential also for CO2 storage. And I want you to think about this. The same rock that once helped us to extract the oil could now help us to mitigate the impact of that very same oil on the environment. It's like diatomite are giving us the second chance, and they've been around us for millions of years, yet quietly doing the amazing jobs, and now they're helping us to ensure that we are going to be here for millions more. Yeah. Okay, so let's recap. Diatoms are tiny algae, which are responsible first for producing the oxygen we breathe. They helping us to clean our water, they filtering our water, they scrubbing our teeth, they making dynamite, and even providing a rock, diatomite, which can hold our oil and store our CO2. So they are tiny algae with a huge potential. And who knew that something so small can cause such a big impact? So thank you so much, and that's it for today.